Switching gears a little bit, I was a little surprised when I've heard you say before, you did mention that you could imagine seeing networks consolidate basically and start pulling all their news sources together. That surprised me a little bit. I wonder what your theory is behind that and if you see any risks in that.
Save it. The evening newscast is an anachronism. It's in such serious need of an overhaul. One of these days, a local market is going to decide, why are we giving away 6:30 to 7 to Jennings, Brokaw, rather? Why don't we keep it? You see, when I started and did the Walter Cronkite News, and there was Huntley Brinkley on NBC, you waited till 7 o'clock to find out what happened in the world. That doesn't exist anymore. To stay competitive with CNN and MSNBC and Fox, CBS, NBC, and ABC have to feed everything all day long to their local affiliates. Now, one day, some affiliate's going to say, we got all this stuff, it's coming in all day long. What do we need Jennings or rather a Brokaw for? Why don't we just fold this national news into local news and keep 6:30 to 7? There's no question about television that anyone's ever asked me, including you, to which the answer is not money. There's a local station guy that says 5 nights a week, 6:30 to 7, is very valuable local television time. Why are we giving it to them? So I want to make the evening news this enormous event. All the network stations have closed, bureaus all over the world. To a lot of them, international news is a dirty word, as you've probably heard Christian Amanpour say. And this would be the greatest news operation on earth. The facilities of 3 giant news organizations, all bent to 1 hour. Now, I don't mean that CBS wouldn't still do 60 Minutes, and ABC still wouldn't do Nightline, and NBC still wouldn't do Tim Russert and Face the Nation. I'm going to say you pool your news organizations. You get together and you pool an event, and the event is the evening news. We pool the White House news coverage. Cameras are in there, they're pooled cameras. You pool the coverage of space shots. You pool the debates, are the same thing on everything. And this bit about, are you stifling competition? I have watched television now for more than a half century. Competition in television ruins television. It does not make it better. The reason the 2020s and the Datelines and the Primetime Lives are not any better is because they're competing with something else. They have to have something they can promo to take you away from the sitcom that's opposite you. I don't want to put anything opposite, rather Brokaw and Jennings. And I think the 3 of them could manage a great broadcast. And I don't think, my argument about competition is, somebody will have to explain to me why the world's greatest newspaper, the New York Times, got better after the New York Herald Tribune folded. They were not as good. They're a better newspaper now than they were when they had competition. So competition makes you do things, especially in television, when you're not working for a Catherine Graham. You're not working for a Punch Sulzberger. You're not working for a E.W. Scripps or a Roy Howard or a Carl Van Anda. You're working for an entertainment conglomerate that is making some time available to sandwich in some news. And the local stations are beginning to wonder, why do we care? What does Dan Rather or Jennings or Brokaw do for us? Nothing. Let's build up our own local guy. And I would like to save that institution, and I would like to make it the world's greatest news entity with bureaus in places they've closed, because to them, foreign news is a dirty word. And do you know that CBS is now saying all news is local? That ain't true. I mean, it's just like WCBS now says, we have better sources. They don't have better sources. And anybody who thinks that NBC, ABC, or CBS, that one is better than the other, is kidding himself. They're all equally good. But they compete with each other, and so they take shortcuts and they do things because and the perfect example was election night. They knew better than to call some of those elections. But is CBS going to sit there and not call Mississippi if NBC just did it? Competition made them bad. And which is another question. Who are we to call elections? I find that so nervy. It's up to the Secretary of State of a state to call the election. We can say it looks like Ohio, when they finally call it, will be in the Bush column or the Gore column, and it seems little doubt that they can ever make up this difference. But who are we to call an election?
Don, this has been probably the fastest half hour I've had in a long time, but we're almost out of time. And we have one more question, time for one more, and I think I'm going to use executive privilege here, whatever you call it, and take it. And that is just, if you will, a quick view, the future for these young reporters going into. Is it going to be a viable business to go into, or is it going to change so much and become a part of what they call confluence of everything coming together that you can't make a decent living in it anymore? Or is it something?
No, it's finally the day of the ink stained wretch is over. They pay well. I mean, I'm living. You know, we all complain about all the commercials. I said Jennings, Brokaw, or rather me, Diane Sawyer, Leslie Stone. We live like Jack Welch. I mean, really, for the first time, we have no complaints, and I think there's a bright, wonderful future out there. I think it's going to pay well. I think there are going to be a lot of jobs. They may be not the same. There may be jobs, you too may be in jobs that don't even exist today. There may be a whole new way of focusing on the world, and you'll be part of it. And you'll make money, and you won't be what we used to call an ink-stained wretch.
Well, what do you think, Donald? Do we have two future good television journalists here?
You've got them. You've got it. They're terrific. They're wonderful.
Well, they are, and they've been good students, and
they were nice to me.
Yes, yes.
I mean, just ran out of time.
Yeah, yeah.
I
We didn't get to the hard stuff.
I think we're just about. We are just about out of time, I believe. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Yes. Good night, and thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to say a special word of thanks to our special guest, Don Hewitt, for being with us tonight, and also special thanks to Michelle Kimbler and Gina Long, and good luck in your chosen professions as journalists. I have to say that you're good students. It's been a pleasure to have you in one of my classes. For In Touch, I'm Doug Poling. Good night. I don't know if I was a little too short.